everybody. I am starting my lecture for the late Joseon Dynasty. So early Joseon Dynasty, you had an amazing king. Can you remember which king was the talented one who created a lot of scientific tools and then created the Korean alphabets? Do you remember the name, Ria?
King Sejong?
Yes, King Sejong. So can you type in his name? So he is called the Great King Sejong because he was so so brilliant in many accomplishments. So all the other succeeding kings also wanted to follow footsteps of King Sejong, but it's not easy, right? We go to the next slide, and then let me open it a little bit bigger. Okay. So hold on. Okay. So for my reason, this is a little bit better for me to catch up both your chats and then also the lecture. But if I really have to show important image, then I will go into the present slide. What is it? The slideshow mode. This is more like a casual viewing. I can make it a little bit smaller and make it central panel a bit larger. Hold on. I wish I had two terminal, two monitors, but I only have one, so I can go back and forth. So imjinwar is a very important war that divide early Joseon Dynasty to late Joseon Dynasty. So it took place around 1600, shortly before 1600. It lasted for about 7 long years. And the reason Joseon was totally unprepared is that they were not suspecting at all. Usually the warfare doesn't take place overnight, right? Like usually you have several years of bad relationship, right? And then you had conflicts here and then there will be a war. But Imjin War is a sort of a total surprise. They didn't expect Japan to invade Joseon this abruptly with this many people. But circumstance in Japan at the time was this man, Toyotomi Hideyoshi. I don't remember his name, very interested. He was the military leader. There was an emperor in Japan, but imperial house was nominal figures. They don't really rule the country. They just stay there as a symbolic figure. So Toyotomi Hideyoshi was the military lord, and he was under some political problems. He had to divert attention of his competitors into a warfare outside, so that they don't interfere with the domestic policies in Japan. So he came up with an excuse. This is really a propaganda or excuse that they want to conquer Ming Dynasty China. So that's their ultimate goal. But if you think about the Korean map, for example, here, how do you get to China? You either go to the via sea, like all the way, right? Or you go through the peninsula. And from military perspective, having a short naval travel, this is only like 2 hours by fast boat. And then by slow boat, like an old-fashioned rowing boat, for example, you will spend about half a day, 6 hours, and you will easily get to the shore. So it's realistic. You go here, you use Korean Peninsula as your fly zone, right? And then you finally go to China, so that it's more opportunity. So that's what their idea was. So he sent 158,000 troops. And if you see this painting, so this was made in 1760, much after the war took place. And these are the Busan, the city of Busan, and it has a fortress. And then these little Lego block kind of things. These are all Japanese ships. So you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 overlapping. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You can see the idea. So the whole idea is entire ocean suddenly covered with Japanese military vessels, and then the Japanese soldiers landed, and then they are vehemently attacking the fortress of Joseon. But Joseon also had their own defense system, right? Like King Sejong and other kings were very active in creating defense system. So why they were helpless and can I say powerless in the beginning of the war? Because Japanese people had teppo. Teppo is Japanese built arquebus. This is firearms. So this is a big difference between Korea and Joseon Dynasty at the time and Momoyama era of Japan. Momoyama era is when Toyotomi Hideyoshi was the military leader. So during the Momoyama period, Japanese people had active trade relationship with the Portuguese merchants, Portugal. So Portuguese merchants would come to Japan through the southern China, and then they were trading. So Japan gives them their crafts work, and then Portuguese merchants will sell firearms like this. So back then, there was no semi-automatic weapon, as you see in the war movies these days. So what happens is this little container looks like a cosmetic container, right? But it's not. It is the powder, like a explosive powder goes in here, and then you are going to pour the gunpowders where you pour somewhere here into the gun, and then there's no automatic firing, so you are going to have a matchstick and put the fire on, and then it will shoot out. There are some springs or some materials, but basically you have to pour gunpowder into it. But it is very powerful. Some are really destructive. Like you can put a lot of gunpowder inside. So that's why they were losing. But Korea also had a war hero. So we are now back to Gyeongbokgung Palace, right? And do you recognize this city, the king behind, right? That this is King Sejong that we just studied. And what you see here is Gyeongbokgung Palace, and then Changgyeongbong is all the way here, and Changdeong is there on the east side. And then the blue house you see over here, that's the blue house, like where the president lives these days. Anyhow, so this is King Sejong, but in the same plaza, if you come a little bit forward to the city hall is up here, and you will have this statue, and his name is Admiral Lee Sun-shin. So he is the war hero who saved Joseon from the invasion of Japan. So in the beginning they were losing, but quickly from 1953, a year later, Admiral Lee Sun-shin, who was stationed on this southern coast, he remodeled his military vessel into the shape of turtle, the animal sea and turtle. I want to see a little bit moment, so that he was effectively defend the coastal line with a very small number of vessels.